how that just pulled that in?
Yeah.
Daddy did that on purpose. Now, up on the front porch, I have a toolbox, and somewhere in there there's a battery charger that this slides into with the plug. Can you go find that and bring it out here?
Like that a new one does with the plug?
Yeah, it should be a big well, not one of these. It's a big black box with a power cord on it, and this will slide into the box. So try and find the box.
What are we gonna do about those holes?
Well, you have to trim it in just like you would at a house.
You're gonna open this, right?
Wasn't planning on it. It would be a lot easier if you just let me board that in and we come inside.
But in the long run, what would actually be easier? The ability to open it and just grab the eggs out. We're gonna have to knock all these nails through or down, or up rather.
Yeah.
You and Ben. We're gonna go to Tractor Supply tonight, okay?
What is this for?
It'll be a dirt bath for them, because we can't use it anymore. So for this, why don't you just use some plywood? Or like nishi board type. That we have like have it be a two-parter and have the hinges down here to where you have the hooks up here, and then you just unhook and can open it like that.
It's going to depend on what materials I find to do it.
I like the idea of this. It's like a fort for you right now, huh?
It's getting to be pretty sturdy. It doesn't wiggle as much anymore.
No, it doesn't wiggle at all.
But that's because I built that wall
No,
there
that's not yours.
where I started building.
Okay, you have this.
Yeah, I mean with the door, with these boards down here,
That's fine. You don't have to make the argument.
by the time we put in like drainage rock all the way around to the inside, around the outside,
That Ben was picking it up.
he just didn't do it.
His boots are caked in mud all the way up the sides. Like, I don't know what the heck that kid was doing.
He got the boards out of the ruts and stacked them up over here.
That's what it was.
We could build a ramp for them to go up, all the way up into like the rafters if they wanted to.
They can fly a little bit. They can fly up there.
And then we'll just put something in here to keep them from... But there's not really anything for them to roost on up here.
It's so big, like they can hang out and sit up there and sleep up there. And that's the thing, is you don't want them to be able to do that. We're gonna go to Tractor Supply tonight. And we might be eating Burger King for dinner because of what time it is. But we've got to go to Tractor Supply because we've got to get diapers for her because she's out. And these boys are way too mud prone. We need something I can hose off. Rubber boots. Daddy's got rubber boots, he just doesn't wear them.
My rubber boots are not good for this because I can easily step on a nail and...
I could easily step on a nail on these.
Oh, mommy.
Heck, he could step on a nail on tennis shoes.
Yes, but
And there should be no nails down here. We've got chickens and dogs and babies.
okay, worksite manager.
Right there, see? Face down.
Let's say it's a boat that we're all in together, that barely stays afloat while we all discuss.
Cutting it out of it and set it on a brick. It'll stay going.
that tape measure?
Huh?
That tape measure.
It was buried in the mud. Just like a great many things that usually fall out of someone's pockets.
You having fun yet?
Before we change our ways, how long till the break of dawn? How long till it days? How long till it days? Let's say it
I'm going to show you a little bit about the design that we're doing here, and then just show you how far we've come. This chicken house is completely made out of scrap material that we've gotten off of the property. So we have an old barn that has been falling down for years. We're scrapping pieces of that barn. We've used some of the barn wood on our fence line because these are basically 2x6s that were on the barn and the rafters for the floorboards on the sides. They used a lot of 2x6s, which are what we use, or 1x6s, sorry. And the 1x6s true cut are what we use on our fence boards. So in some cases we've taken these boards off, we've painted them black, we put them on the fence. You really can't tell the old boards up against the new boards. I can, because driving a nail into these old boards is a pain in the butt, and it always bends the nail and it's always a mess. I mean, this thing is strong. It's sitting under an oak tree. If we have a hurricane and an oak branch falls on it, it's probably not going to hurt our chickens. This can withstand quite a bit of severe weather, the way that we're building this thing. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're using old wood. It's not lumber that we've gone to the store and purchased. So it's not like we're getting this lumber cut perfectly for a project, or that we're then cutting it down perfectly for a project. You can kind of see I've got some seams here and there. We'll clean those up before we paint this. We've had to basically play a game of Tetris with old wood to put this thing together. And when you do that, you tend to overbuild, or at least I do. And so this thing is definitely an overbuilt structure for chickens. But that's kind of what we want, is something that will last for a long period of time, and something that will safely house our chickens during severe weather, because we are in North Carolina. We do deal with a lot of hurricanes and a lot of severe weather. It would take a lot to knock this thing over. So I'll give you a quick tour. This is obviously the door for us to enter the chicken coop. We put it on the back side because we would come out of the back door of our house and come down here. And this gives us pretty easy access into the back side of the coop. And our pastures and our backyard area is over that way. So just being able to come in from this direction is nice. Down at the base, all around the bottom of this, is a 2x10. And what that is there for is to just kind of help with predators. I'm making it as difficult as possible for anything to try and get up underneath this thing. It also helped shore up the bottom of it. All of this is just old recycled wood that I've been pulling. So I'm not going to use this wood to build anything else. I might as well put it to use guarding our chickens. So I've got 2x10s wrapping around the base of it, and then obviously we're putting the 1x6s along the outside. Once I put a door in here, I'll probably kind of trim this in with some wood and cover up this crack that runs along the top here, where I've taken the old structure and blended it with my new building down below. These here are going to be our laying boxes. We'll have plenty of room here for a lot of chickens to lay, and I'll show you this from the inside here in a second. But on the outside, what we wanted to do was have doors that could flap up so that we could easily just walk from the front porch. We don't have to come into the chicken coop, but we can just lift the doors up and grab the eggs out of their nesting areas. We've talked about using these old crates for nesting boxes, but the way that I'm building this out, you're not even really going to need the crates. It'll be fairly easy to clean. When you come in here, you can just scrape it off and muck out the chicken coop. I'm not sure that there's a use for those crates once we build this out. We'll probably just put some wood dividers in here, and we need to do something up top. We don't want the chickens being able to get up above the nesting areas. It needs to be just big enough for a chicken to go into to lay their eggs. And Shauna knows more about that, so maybe when we get the chicken coop done, she can explain some of those design features to you. But this is just a very basic beginning. I've mounted the nesting boxes this way, kind of on the outside. A little bit for style. I kind of like the look of it. It also gives us more space here on the inside to create ways that they can perch. And we're also going to have inside the chicken coop their food storage and things like that. So there'll be some storage room inside here. Now this is the front of the chicken coop, or well, for the chickens, it's the front of the chicken coop. This will go out into a chicken wired kind of pen area, so that if we're gone for a period of time, or we just can't get around to letting the chickens out for some reason, they still have a way to get out and have some yard space to pluck around and do their thing. We don't want to leave our chickens cooped up all the time. This will be kind of like a platform. We wanted it slightly elevated from the inside of the chicken house for them to come up and then go out on. We will probably have some sort of door that slides up and down here, although it may not be necessary. Once we build in the chicken wire yard, they'll be able to be protected and nothing's going to be able to get into this hole. So the door sliding up and down is more or less there for severe weather protection if we need to block them on the inside of the coop. I still need to get some boards to finish this exterior here, but I've gotten a pretty good start on it. I mean, the amount of boards left to actually finish this outside are rather insignificant. The inside of the chicken coop, for the most part, we've got the 3 walls done. You've got plenty of space up here, which is great because the chickens like to kind of go up high and perch. I've noticed in their current coop, they try and go to the highest spot to perch at night. So I'm going to make ways for them to be able to get up high into the rafters. And then back here by our door, we'll probably have an enclosed area just that goes all the way up to the ceiling because we don't want them to be able to get up on top of the enclosed area. But we'll probably have an enclosed area that comes out to here with a door that we can then store food in and other things that we don't want the chickens getting into, but are part of taking care of the chickens. So that everything will be right here. Our shovels to muck it out, it's all going to be here. Now, mud is a big problem where we are, so once we finish building this chicken coop, right now we have some more baby chicks. We've been raising them in the house. Right now they're in our living room. Welcome to the farm. But we want to get them out here as quickly as possible. So my next move is to basically finish the front of this and get this closed in so that we have a safe place for those chicks to come out to. But then once we do that, before I really build the exterior fenced area, we need to come in and kind of dig a trench around the bottom and put some rock in it so that any water that comes off the sides or is coming in towards the chicken coop will catch that trench. I might put a French drain down there and then just kind of run off. Or everything here is on a hill, so it's all moving in that direction, but water still seems to, this year especially, just seems to saturate the ground everywhere. So we want to try and displace as much of the water from this area as we possibly can, make it as dry as possible for the chickens in here, and then we'll probably put down a bed of shavings. We could probably do a pretty thick bed and then just put shavings down on top of it until it's time to muck the whole thing out and throw it into the garden. So this is actually, I like this design. It's very big. We'll be able to come into the chicken coop, do the things we need to do to clean it, take care of it. The chickens themselves will have plenty of places to go, and the best thing about this entire coop is that it's all old materials that we've found here on the property that we're recycling. The only thing that we've paid for so far are the nails. We'll probably have to buy some hinges, some for the hardware for the little doors that open up, and the door for the back side will probably need some hinges, but everything else that you see here is completely recycled. It's stuff that we found on the property that was no longer being used or usable for anything else, and we've basically been able to cut it up and put it into this chicken house design. Now when we're done, we'll do a follow-up video. We're going to paint the exterior of this to match the house. What it will most likely look like is just an old barn of some sort or chicken coop on our property, and we'll paint it to match the house and make it look pretty. I think once it's all done, you're not going to be looking at this thing going, what is that hunk of scrap material out in their yard? It's definitely better than the situation that we've had them in, and like I said, it's got a dry roof, a lot of dry areas for the chickens. It's going to be nice for them in the long run. Dealing with recycled tin has been an issue. I think that one of the biggest challenges that I'm going to run into with the recycled tin are the old nail holes. You can't patch tin effectively with like one of those paint covers because what happens is if you put, you know, a sealer cover over the tin, if anything penetrates that, if a branch falls on it, anything penetrates that that silicone sealant, it will actually allow moisture to get trapped between the protective coating and the tin and cause the tin to rust faster. You could use some of the tar patching to patch holes, but that's just going to be super ugly. Probably the best way to patch this roof would be to get up there and actually weld the holes shut. Eventually, I would like to use the same metal that's on the roof of our house on the chicken coop. Right now we're doing everything out of recycled material, so that's not really an option. We don't have any metal left over from the roof of our house. At one point we did, but I think I might have already recycled it. So this old tin from our barn is what we're going to use now. I'm probably going to end up scraping it the best I can. I haven't decided yet on whether or not it's going to be worth my time to patch all the nail holes or, you know, weld them shut, but I do know that we will probably paint the roof of this to at least match our house, and if it only lasts for 5 or 6 years before we have to replace it, I think I'd be okay with that, because number one, we have a ton of tin that we're pulling off our old barn that we could still recycle back out to this if we need to, or at that time maybe we could go and get some metal that actually matches the roof of our house, because this is fairly close to our house. I don't want it to look too abnormal on the property. But before I finish this chicken house this week, I'm gonna have to kind of clean up our yard a bit. And being mid-March, things are starting to grow, and as things grow, if we don't have everything ready to go for growing season, you start to lose equipment and things that were not put away properly in the tall grass, and then you can't mow that area because you know that there's something in there that you're going to hit, and it just becomes a mess. So right now, I've been trying to clean up the yard a bit. We've got our cedar hedge starting to grow in. I'm trying to clean out around the cedars so that we can better mow around them this year, and hopefully we'll have a nice looking property as things start to grow in without junk and clutter everywhere. We've done a lot of property cleanup this winter, and I need to get that done, and then I can finish this project. But we'll do some follow-up videos on this chicken coop. Like I said, there's nothing super special about the design of it. It's just all, you know, recycled material that we've had to kind of cut and fit and reframe and build with. Not having the choice of cuts or, you know, being able to pre-measure things out. As I get to a certain spot, I kind of make it up as I go from there. So it's not like a design that we've put together and then are building. It's just something that we started with a few pieces and have kept adding on to it. So stick with us. Hopefully we'll get some more content out to you guys soon.